too. So, hi Keisha Fallon, I'm Megan Harbaugh. I'm here to interview you today about being a paralegal. I'm currently a college student at Bucks County Community College, one more year to go, and then I will be paralegal certified. So, how long have you been a paralegal?
A little over 10 years.
Okay. What education did you receive towards this degree?
I also went to Bucks County Community College and received my associate's degree.
And then after that, did you get any certifications or any other programs that you did?
I wouldn't say certifications, but I attended some seminars for continuing education.
And that was here at this law firm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are you a CLA or pro at a PACE registered paralegal exam, or have you applied for either?
Actually, I have not yet applied for it, but I was thinking about doing it. I think that's something newer in today's, I think it started in 2011. I've heard of it, I've looked into it, but I haven't yet applied.
Okay, but you're planning on it.
Mm-hmm.
So after you graduated, what steps did you take to be a paralegal?
I believe I mass mailed out my resume to a bunch of law firms, and I lived in Doylestown, so that was what I tried to do. I did actually get a lot of responses from some friendly firms in Doylestown. Maybe that they were not hiring at the time, but they would keep my resume on file. And then I believe eventually, through Career Builder, I got a job at Drexler Lyons and McGuffin in Warminster.
Okay.
Doing criminal defense and personal injury work.
Okay. And what other areas of expertise do you know then for law?
So there I did that, criminal defense and plaintiff side personal injury. I also have some real estate background and civil defense litigation.
Okay. Sounds good. So would you say then that applying on those career builder websites or like job finding searches are worth it? LinkedIn or?
Yeah. I think that they're actually, even LinkedIn I believe is really helpful. We have accounts for this firm here set up. It kind of just helps you network and
you think that's really key?
Helpful. Mm-hmm.
That's key to being paralegal. All right. Since you started working here, what would you say are the most important skills a paralegal needs?
I would believe that would be attention to detail, and probably you have to be highly organized to, keep track of all your files and
so you know where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what specific tasks do you do here at this law firm?
At this law firm, we are pretty much in charge of all discovery from start to finish. Could be assessing medical records, discovery responses, drafting custom interrogatories, requests for production, depending on the case, getting files ready for depositions, make sure everything's up to date, even down to getting the files ready to go to IMEs, pretty much everything from start to finish in discovery.
Okay.
Getting it ready for trial.
Would you say you interact with the clients more often than the attorneys, or?
I wouldn't say that. Generally, since we're in insurance defense, there's not a whole lot of client contact. I would say more along answering discovery, like interrogatories. Yeah, we might have some contact, but that could be either the paralegal or the attorney, depending on. So it depends on each case. And then the attorney, as far as, going to depositions, he'll prep our clients for that.
So. Okay. So they're kind of, they know what's going on beforehand.
Oh,
You're able to talk to them. Would you say you communicate more through, email or phone calls or for client?
I would say pretty much with my relationship with the client, it probably isn't for what I normally do here.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be to answer discovery.
Okay.
But the attorney would be more, prepping them for depositions, having them in for a meeting prior for debt prep. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, no problem. Have you ever worked with the program LexisNexis or Westlaw, before or during your time here at the firm?
Yes, LexisNexis. I may have used Westlaw, but it was a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't really remember that
So
well.
LexisNexis is like the current.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still use it, or like the program you guys use here?
That's what we use here.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you organize your workload in order to manage multiple tasks and tight deadlines?
Actually, here at this firm, we have software called Abacus that keeps track of all your diaries. So each morning, when you come into work, it's like you run a report, and all your diaries will come up for that day, which will kind of give you all your tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Deadlines will come up, reminders for future deadlines. So that's very helpful because then you can kind of see what's going on with your whole caseload. So
you'd say, I guess, having softwares and being technology like savvy would really benefit you.
Definitely.
Okay.
I have to say, when I was working my first job, we used the Tickle system where it was like you had, I think it was like I think it was numbered, and what you would do is you would just like put your letters in that you had to follow up in like 20 days would come and go under that number, and that's what you would do. And I just find it much more efficient for the software program.
Because it's not all paper.
Yeah.
That's different, right? I can't imagine just filing through papers all day long. Not in this generation anymore. So what task would you say takes up the majority of your time here?
I would have to say, basically, when you are assessing, I do a lot of like analyzing medical records or their answers. That definitely takes probably the longest time to do, and really looking at it to make sure that you're not missing an important part of the file.
The attention to detail, like really, really proofreading, double reading, triple reading, like everything. I'm gonna make sure it's like.
Yeah.
I gotcha. What is the most difficult part of your job? What's the most difficult part?
I guess sometimes when you're assessing a large file, for say, you never want to assume something. So you kind of want to make sure you have all your facts together before you kind of have to have an open mind, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Before you kind of make up your mind of what you really think. So I guess that could probably be something that you wouldn't want to just focus on one thing. You're going to kind of...
So quickly formulating opinions about things you're not quite sure about because you have to continue reading.
Yes.
As part of it. Okay. What do you believe is the easiest mistake you could make?
That would probably be what I just said.
Part of it? So, like, not the attention to detail.
Yeah.
So, okay. I was curious if that would be the same thing, or... have you actually sat in court with the attorney?
I haven't actually been in the courtroom with my attorney, but I've gone to depositions, mediations. But since I've been here, he hasn't gone to a trial, so I haven't been to a trial with him.
Okay. Have you ever been to a trial period, like before this law firm? So
no.
Okay. Do you know what the ethical codes are and the rules under the moral rules of professional conduct are? And if so, what is the most important one of them all?
I believe that would probably be confidentiality. You got to make sure you're not leaking, saying anything that you're not supposed to be saying. And also, not giving legal advice. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. That's like
some
the
people
number one rule.
Yeah, they'll ask and be like, I'm not a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important.
Do you think when you leave the law office and go home, you kind of have to not even talk about work?
I don't really. Yeah, I leave work at work.
You leave work at work. That's basically key. And overall, why did you want to be a paralegal, and what do you think? And do you think you meet the job expectations indefinitely?
I gotta say, honestly, I think what first made me even think about being a paralegal was probably watching episodes of Law and Order.
You liked
back in the day.
I watched them too.
And I always liked it. So it was either that or be a hairdresser.
Yeah, that's two different.
Yeah, two totally different things. But I would say that's probably what made me the interest. That's where my interest started, probably in law.
So I would say when you were going to school and you were learning about it, like, did you think, yeah, I possess the skills needed? Like,
oh, definitely.
Skills, so you knew, like, this would probably work out.
Yeah, I knew long before I even went to school, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had just those perfect skills to fit it. That's awesome. So what advice would you give me then in my studies to be a paralegal as I'm finishing up here?
You're going to have to delete this a little bit.
That's fine.
Actually, I was wondering, can I ask you what law interests you? Like, do you know what you like?
Actually, and we can, because it's like a spiel. Like, I'm still starting, so I've done all the other credits, and I'm actually into, like, an introduction law class right now. Mm-hmm. So I haven't exactly seen, like, the basics yet of which one I would really prefer. I think I might do better in the family law area, but I really kind of want to learn all about them first to know which one I would do best in.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure which one's going to catch my interest quite yet.
Okay.
So I don't know if that messed up your question.
Well, it kind of, yeah, I have no real background for family law. Not really. I mean, the one firm I worked at, one of the guys practiced it, mm-hmm. so I would hear bits and pieces. But I guess it will depend on that, I think, somewhat. But you definitely see, if you're going to be in defense litigation, mm-hmm. I could totally, like, say, you know, you have to, will definitely be highly organized, but I think that that's key with any paralegal job, right? But in my field, like, what you want to try and get is, like, to see the whole picture of the case. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whether or not it's not just pieces. You want to try and get everything together. In insurance defense, you're kind of like trying to limit damages and things. I messed that up. Oh, yeah. You definitely have to know the reason why you had the file. So, depending on whatever your interests are, I guess.
Right.
There's always a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's key, too.
But so far, from what I've seen and what I've been taught in class and, like, even looked online, it's usually people don't seem to want to hire paralegals until they at least have, like, 3 to 5 years of experience. Mm-hmm. So would you suggest it's really important to, especially network, and hopefully, like, I'm planning on after this finding an internship, if mm-hmm. possible. I'd like to start interning and seeing if that will give me the experience that I can be hired then. Mm-hmm. So
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea, is to intern. Yeah. Do you think the best place would be, like, in between, like, Doylestown there, because it does have, like, the majority of...
I would think so, and I think that, like I said earlier, there was a lot of friendly law firms in Doylestown that may take you under their wing and
do an internship. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to interview me, Keisha, so it was really great to meet you.
You too. Nice to meet you. Thank you.